Okay, so I'm really excited to share my inventory because the numbers are improving. I feel like my last two things are just like woo 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 woo. But this time there is a distinct direction that we are heading, and I like the direction that we're heading in, you get me? So I'm just gonna go straight into the numbers. The first category is foundations, and this is the only category that has increased, so I feel pretty proud that there's only one. At the beginning of 2021, I had no foundations, but 6 months in, I had one. Now I have two. I used up the one I had. I bought one. It was both the wrong formula and color. I bought a second one. This is the first time I'm wearing them together today. I like the formula of them mixed together. One was very matte, one was very like moisturizing. The color, I got one that was warm toned and too pale, and one that was neutral and slightly too dark. I like pink. I had to blend it on my neck. The neutral one is just like pink on me. I think I finally figured out my undertone, and it's olive. So if you have any recommendations for really fair olive undertone foundations that are like satin finish, not super drying but also not super glowy, and also a good coverage, let me know. Sorry for the camera shift, but the next category is concealers, and this one dropped. At the beginning of the year I had 5, then halfway through I had 3, and now I have 2 because it works okay on the face, but under my eyes I don't love it. So I needed to buy one that I knew would be hydrating enough, so that's why I have 2, and one of them I probably will end up using as a spot concealer, as well as maybe as like a foundation on days I don't want to wear foundation, you know? So that is improving in numbers, and hopefully eventually I will get down to just 1. We will see. But the next category is powders. I started off with 1 at the beginning of the year, then I had 3 6 months in, and now I still have 3, though I used one up and then I bought one. I bought it in the moment of like, oh yes, this is definitely, I'm definitely gonna be frankening a ton of contours, but now I'm like, do I want to do that, or do I want to just like declutter and take away the hassle? But it's still, the loose powder is still something I can use, and it is a much better bang for your buck because of how much product there is, so it's not a horrible purchase. I'll probably end up just using it as a powder, though the packaging is kind of annoying, but 3 is fine. At least nothing has grown. Now for my bronzer slash contour category, I started off the year with 1, then I had 2 midway through, and now I am down to 1. Even though it looks like I have 2 pans, I consider them one product because I have to mix them together. The next category is blush, and this is exciting. I started off the year with 8. Halfway through I had 9, but now I'm back down to 8 because I finally finished that Franken cream blush, and now I'm just down to the powder ones that I actually love and are ones that I like bought instead of random ones that are decluttered to me or that are Franken cream ones. I feel like in the past I'm always working on a weird, odd thing that I didn't actually want, or I just had blushes given to me that I didn't particularly ask for. But now I'm just down to the blushes that I chose, that I wanted, and now I'm very happy with what I have. Though I will be working on a few eyeshadows as blushes this year. The next category is highlighters. Nothing has changed since 6 months ago. I had 1 at the beginning of the year, then I had 3. I still have those 3. I don't plan on buying anymore because I haven't really been wearing highlighters on my face. I'm wearing one on the inner corners, and that's basically the only place I wear it other than my Cupid's bow and maybe a bit on the nose. But I think it's because I've been struggling with acne and also my preferences have changed. I don't love a super glowy face. I don't want to bring attention to that, so I'll do like a subtly glowy blush, but that's as much as I can do. I'm not really into highlighters, so I don't want any more. Should I have bought those? I kind of wish that they were eyeshadow size because I use them as eyeshadows, but they're powder products, so I'll just keep them forever. The next category, nothing has changed in the entire year, and that is eyeshadow primers. I still have 2. One that's normal, one that's a glitter glue, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Now for large eyeshadow palettes, I have 12, which is the same as 6 months ago, but I did have 10 at the beginning of the year. But the 12 look different now because I depotted 3 of them into one double-sided magnetic palette. So it takes up less space, which makes me really happy, but nothing has changed in terms of numbers. Mini eyeshadow palettes, nothing has changed throughout this entire year. I've had the same 2, and I don't plan on changing that. Well, I have one mini eyeshadow palette that I'm looking at. I have not mentioned it in a wish list video because I added it a few months ago. Okay, eyeshadow singles is where it gets exciting. So the beginning of the year I had 48, halfway through I dropped it down to 26, and now I have 11, and that's because I used up 13 and decluttered 2. And I'm just very happy with that number dropping. I'm hoping I can get it as close to 0 as possible by the end of next year, but I also plan on depotting everything and making everything singles. So it might not actually seem like it changes, but I still want to get most of those 11 out. Now, my total eyeshadow pan category has been kind of up and down this year because I started off with 176, halfway through I had 189 because I bought 2 palettes. Now I'm down to 173, so I've actually decreased by 3 this whole year, which doesn't sound like a ton, but I'm glad that I'm actually in the downward direction because I did raise it in the middle of the year, so things are looking better. And my next category is eyeliners. Started off with 0, got 3, and now I still have the same 3. I don't plan on buying anymore. I'm still figuring out my feelings on eyeliners in general. For mascaras, I had 1, then 2, and now I'm back down to 1, but it is a different one. I just like having 1 at a time, maybe 2 if I have a backup, but I don't need a ton of mascaras in my life. I can't even find 1 that I love. For brow products, the numbers stayed the same, and I had the same products, though I did buy 1 and then declutter that same one because I messed up Franken. But I still have the same products, though I did repress and slightly Franken the brow powder that I had just because it was in a random container and I wanted to get rid of that container. Anyways, the number hasn't changed. I don't know how I feel about brow powders nowadays because I really like brow gel, especially now that my hair doesn't have a bald spot. Yeah, we'll see how I feel about powder in a few years from now, but I plan on just keeping at least 1 because I did declutter 2 shades I was going to use as powder because I use it in Franken. Anyways, I don't want to talk about the brow Franken disaster. You can see the Franken video I posted recently. I didn't really talk about the brow thing because yeah. Now for tinted lip balms. This is exciting because I had 3 throughout the year and now I'm down to 2 because I finally used 1 up. Hopefully I can use another 1 up next year. I don't love any of the ones I have, so I'm open for suggestions if you have any. For lip liners, I've had the same one the entire year. For lipsticks, I started the year with 6, then I had 7, and I still have that same 7. For lip gloss, this is where numbers are changing. Started off the year with 4, 6 months through I had the same 4, and now I have 2 because I used 2 of those up. And I'm hoping to use at least 1, but probably both of them up this next year just because I don't like keeping lip glosses for too long, you know? I've had ones go bad on me in the past, and I try to avoid that. So hopefully I can use up both, but at least the Franken one that looks, it's the same as last time, but I changed the color because I added a lipstick. If you haven't seen the Franken video, check it out. Now for all of the total breakdown numbers. If you don't include the eyeshadow pan category, then I have 64 items, which considering that includes the single eyeshadow category, that's pretty good. I definitely don't want to ever exceed 100, that's for sure. I'm hoping to maybe eventually get it hanging in the 50s instead. But if you include every single eyeshadow pan and then take out the singles category, then I have 226, which is a lot, but single eyeshadow pans, they don't take as much room as like other makeup items. I don't know, I don't see eyeshadows in the same way, if that makes sense. But I will admit I have a lot of eyeshadow for someone who doesn't wear eyeshadow every day. But if you exclude the singles category, which I did in the past because I had a really high number, but it's only at 53 if you take out my single eyeshadow category and it's just palettes and all the other makeup items. So I am in the 50s in that sense. But what's exciting is that my total at the beginning of the year was 95, halfway through was 85, and now I'm at 64. So I made a big difference. Most of that was eyeshadow singles, but still, that is a big drop, which I am very proud of. And now for the cruelty-free part of my breakdown, because of the way I counted my singles, at the beginning of the year I had 47 non-cruelty-free products. Halfway through I got it down to 25, and now I have it down to 8, and that is a blush, 2 palettes, and then a few leftover singles that are within Frankens. And I'm hoping by the end of the year to get it down very, very low and also get rid of all the singles within that number, but I'm just very happy. To be fair, I did declutter, I think, 4 things in that category within the year, but the other things I did finish up. So again, making good progress. The way I feel about cruelty-freeness has changed over time. I feel less strict about it. There's a lot of gray area when it comes to cruelty-freeness and ethical purchasing, and obviously you can never have an entirely ethical purchasing habit unless if you like make everything yourself. So that's kind of iffy, but I still want to include this category because there's progress and it's exciting to see the numbers change. So the percentage of non-cruelty-free items was at 49.47% at the beginning of the year, which was really high, but mostly because my singles category was and then halfway through I got it down to 29.41%, and now I'm at 12.5, which is so much better. I'm very happy. To be fair, another thing that has changed that number is not only using things up, but also because of buying new things. So keep that in mind, but still progress. And the last little thing is if you take out the eyeshadow singles category, which made a big difference at the beginning of the year, but not so much now, I was at 17.2% at the beginning of the year, then I got down to 10.17%, now I'm at 5.66% because that is only 3 items that aren't singles. So yeah, I'm just very happy with that progress. The way I format my inventory, I keep track of what decreases and what increases and what has stayed the same. And as you can see, yellow means increase, and that only has 1 category that has increased since my last update, which was 6 months ago. I had 8 that decreased, and all the rest stayed the same. And I'm pretty sure all of my totals have decreased in terms of the bottom categories. So all very exciting stuff. I look forward to making very significant progress in the next year. I plan on transforming my eyeshadow collection to be composed of entirely singles in magnetic palettes. And because of that, I will probably be decluttering certain shades and certain palettes that I don't care to depot. So I think numbers will decrease this year because of that, and things will look much different by the end of the year visually. We'll see, but stay tuned for my project pans within the next year and all my other content. So it'll be exciting. I'll be freeing up space and my storage will look different. My storage has not changed a ton since last time. Let me know if you want to see my storage setup now that I've frankened a bunch of things and decluttered a few things. Not that much, but things have changed slightly since I've last done that update. But with that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that you have an amazing day. Bye!